And what was so defective about Mike DeYoung?
Thanks very much, David. And I know that you've always been such a great champion of grassroots conservatives. So thank you for claiming to be their spokesman. Listen, the reality is that conservatives are going to have solid candidates right across the country. We're going to put Canada first. We're going to put Canada first.
Welcome back to This is VANCOLOUR. A seasoned British Columbian politician for the last 30 years, he is a former Attorney General of BC, a former BC Minister of Health, and as BC's Minister of Finance, he tabled 5 consecutive balanced budgets. On top of that impressive resume, he also sat at the negotiation table with the United States over the softwood lumber trade dispute, which, given our current relationship with the US, you'd think would be a huge asset. You'd think that this is someone a political party wants representing them in a federal election. Yet the Conservative Party of Canada, as directed from their central campaign, not their local riding, rejected him as a candidate, saying he was not qualified. In his place, the party chose a 25-year-old political novice, reportedly handpicked by Pierre Poilievre's top advisor, Jenny Byrne. He carries on, however, as the independent candidate for the riding of Abbotsford-South Langley. He is Mike DeYoung. Mike, what an honor. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Mo, great to be on VANCOLOUR, and congratulations. 4 years on the air.
4 years. We're going for a 5th, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
5's
Not
lucky.
confirmed.
Drive for 5. Drive for 5.
just like all the budgets that you balanced. I love it. Now, I'm actually very confused because you've been campaigning for the Conservatives for the last year. I thought you were their nominee in Abbotsford-South Langley. Before we get into all the drama, just explain to me and the viewers, how do these big political parties actually pick their local candidates?
Well, it's a bit unclear today, but the way it used to be is folks in an area that were interested in carrying a party's flag into the next election would announce that, and they would have they would campaign, and eventually all the members of that party, in this case the Conservative Party, would cast a vote
in the riding.
In the riding,
okay,
that's right. In the riding. In this case, Abbotsford-South Langley. So that's what I've been doing for a year. I had been invited by the leader of the party and senior people a year and a half ago. They said, "Well, you should run for us." They had asked me for my endorsement during Mr. Poilievre's leadership campaign, so we did all that. You should run for us. I said, "Okay," but it's generally considered a safe Conservative seat, so I knew there would be competition.
Sure.
So, and that's fine. That's democracy, right? there's no gimmies in this business. At least there shouldn't be. And so for a year, a bunch of volunteers and I worked hard, and it was disappointing when 3 days before the vote, I was told, "No, you're not going to run."
And so that's where I'm really confused, because I gave the Coles Notes version in the introduction of the segment, but basically the party said that you were unqualified. Now, I listed out your resume. You don't have any criminal record as far as I know. Did they give you any reason of why they thought you were unqualified, but the candidate that won was qualified?
No, and I'm not sure we'll ever hear the full reason. We know this. We know that all of the potential candidates were interviewed by the local committee, as you said in your intro.
And they endorsed you, right?
Unanimously.
Okay.
Ironically, the young student that is now the candidate was rejected by the local folks.
Really?
Yeah, they recommended that he not be approved as the candidate.
Wow.
Those recommendations went to Ottawa, and some backroom party hack said, "No, this is how it's going to be." And we got the word a few days before the vote. So, what's the rationale? When I phoned, no one will talk to you, and the only thing someone muttered on the phone was, "Well, we didn't think you were qualified."
But that just seems unfair because, like I said, you were campaigning under the Conservative brand for a year. You did bring a lot of attention. I know when you announced your, intention to seek the nomination, that brought a lot of attention to the party. So do you feel like you were owed a little more than just that?
Common sense would suggest, look, I've been at this a while, as you pointed out. If the party thought there wasn't an alignment there, I thought there was. I'm actually comfortable with virtually all of the platform, the approach to governance, the approach to fiscal policy. But if they disagreed, well, then tell me.
Yeah.
Right? Tell me a year ago. And unfortunately, this is a trend we're seeing in the Conservative Party, but to be fair, in all of the major parties, where you're getting centralized control over the candidate selection process, which I thought the essence of our democracy was that local people select the people that they want representing
So
them.
instead, you're having these like party brass elites pick local candidates all across the country when they may actually not have intimate knowledge of those communities.
Precisely.
Wow.
That is precisely the drawback, and we're starting to see communities push back. And you've mentioned, as disappointed as I was, wasn't much I could do about it. So right off into the sunset until my phone and the response from the community was, no, this isn't right. And that overwhelming sort of grassroots response convinced me, all right, there is an important principle at stake here. And so that's why I'm on the ballot.
You're going to stick it to the man.
Well, I'm going to try and highlight the fact that a fundamental part of our democracy, in my view, is that local people select who their candidates are and who their representatives are. And look, along the way, I too am confused that I would be told I'm not qualified, but a young university student is.
Right. Now, I remember when you endorsed Pierre Poilievre in 2022, and I remember you actually did it against the wishes of your party leader at the time, Kevin Falcon, whether it was BC Liberal or BC United. Do you regret endorsing Pierre Poilievre in 2022?
No, and it may surprise you to know, even today, in the aftermath of what has happened, for reasons I'm happy to explain, I think the country's best interest will be served with a Conservative administration versus a Liberal administration, and I have specific reasons I'm happy to enunciate.
You are a Conservative. Like, let's be honest. I mean, that makes sense.
I am over 5 years. I certainly demonstrated as finance minister my fiscal conservatism.
Sure.
So, and in other areas, I think we should strengthen our military. I think we do need to strengthen our economy. I think bullies like Donald Trump prey on weakness. And we are weaker today as a country than we were 10 years because of decisions we've made here. So I'll talk about that during the campaign. But I don't think you gain much by living with regret. I made that decision then. I don't regret it, and we move forward.
Does that mean that the door is open for you to join the Conservative caucus, let's say if you are elected as an independent?
Well, there's a major hurdle to overcome. Independents have a bit of an uphill struggle. There's a reason very few are ever elected. So I'm under no illusion about the challenge and the great team that I have, grassroots team that is working. So first things first, and we'll see if we can make a little history in Abbotsford-South Langley, and thereafter, what does the Parliament look like? It seems to me we're headed back into minority government territory, but we'll see on the 28th.
Fair enough. Now, let me ask you a question. You obviously have a lot of experience when it comes to trade negotiations, probably more experience than a lot of the candidates out there right now. If, let's say, the Liberals were to form government and Mark Carney said, hey, Mike DeYoung sitting as an independent in Abbotsford-South Langley, I would like some of your advice or consultation on this. Would you be open to working with the Liberals in that capacity?
Yeah, I don't see myself joining a Liberal caucus. But look, we're all supposed to get elected to advance the interests of the country. Mm-hmm. And if a prime minister of any political stripe or a premier of any political stripe were to ask me, what are your thoughts? Of course I'd share with them. I mean, after this election, we got to come together as Canadians. Mm-hmm. We are dealing with a man whose stated policy is to eliminate us as a country.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he said.
That's what he says.
Taken in literal terms, absolutely.
He's either lying.
Yeah.
He's either lying or he doesn't want Canada to exist as a country. We are going to have to come together as Canadians. We are going to have to strengthen ourselves economically, and there's some structural things that we need to do to resist that bizarre and, in my view, unwarranted attack by President Trump.
Yeah. You've touched on this already, but just to end our chat here, if you were to be elected as an independent MP, we know that that's not a lot of power in the House of Commons, in Parliament. What is your pitch to Abbotsford-South Langley to say, hey, listen, yeah, I would sit as an independent MP. There's a chance that no party takes me into their fold, but I can still represent the community as best as possible?
It's a two-part answer,
Yeah.
Maybe a three-part answer.
Sure.
One, of course, the role of an independent member of parliament or MLA depends in large measure on the nature of that individual, what experience they bring, how much they know about where decisions are made within government. I think I have a little bit of experience there. It's also greatly influenced by the makeup of the parliament itself. I was in a provincial legislature where one or two members had a lot of influence because of the thin margin of the majority.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of influence. So we'll see. But what's my message to the people of Abbotsford and South Langley? And I do want to say this to people out there. It is really important that we not give up on democracy. And a lot of people are very angry about what happened. And they're saying, I'm not going to vote. And I'm not. Look, I'm a politician. And of course, I want people to consider supporting me. But for heaven's sakes, get involved. If it's not me, pick another candidate. Pick another party. Pick a party. But get involved, because we are under attack from down south. And Canadians have to come together. And that starts with getting involved in our democratic process. Don't give up on democracy.
Mike, a wonderful message to end on. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
Folks, the independent candidate for the riding of Abbotsford-South Langley, an accomplished BC cabinet minister across several ministries. He is, of course, Mike DeYoung. Now, after some business, will alternative media become more powerful than mainstream media in this current federal election? Alternative media guy JJ McCullough will be here to talk about it up next.